because Taylor Pemberton's stats were missing for Saints, which is weird because he's one of the players who did play in the other game. I think you still gave out about another 4 debutants, didn't you? 3 or 4 debutants.
Yeah, 4, I think.
Yeah. What about the individuals we did get numbers for?
For the winners, the deserved winners, obviously, Kyle Evans, 1 try assist, 6 tackle butts, 150 metres. Big Eddie Smash the Butty Batty, 138 metres. The remarkable Lewis Murphy, 4 tries, 1 try assist, 6 tackle butts, 125 metres. 4 clean breaks. Max Jowett, who I really like as fullback, 1 try, 1 try assist on 113 metres. For the losers, Joey Lussick, 44 tackles, who played very well, playing the whole game. John Bennison, 1 try and 138 metres. For me, just before we get on to any fan views, the guy I really enjoyed watching as a young lad to look out for is a guy called George Delaney. He's a very young prop forward that they're bringing through the academy at Saints, and for me anyway, I think he's got huge potential. Certainly one to watch.
Good stuff. Wakey White's a decent game this, considering both sides were missing loads of first teamers. Always had a soft box for Saints, viewing them as a sort of non-evil Wigan. But after Chairgate, I was mighty pleased we got to rain on their parade this time. Murphy scoring 4. Sorry, what?
Although not.
Yeah, Murphy scoring 4.
We lost, we still won.
Murphy scoring 4 tries to take him to 19 in 20 was class. He's a real star in the making. And Mike Webb said, well, after the blood and thunder of the derby in front of 19,000, it all ends with 2 reserve teams losing. With planning like that, no wonder the League Leaders Shield is disregarded. Good to see the youngsters and particularly letting the debutants take the West End applause at the end. Lewis Murphy is something special.
He is. He really is.
So talk to me a bit more about his performance, because again he's got a try assist in there as well, which is showing more roundedness to his game. But what about his game in this game?
I thought he was terrific. I mean, they had our right edge on top. I mean, that Makinson was playing centre on that side, and a young lad outside him who I'm not quite sure who the hell it was, to be honest. But they just had us on toast down that side. So there was nothing much we could do. Murphy, it's the first time I've really spent time watching him play. He's a big lad. I mean, he's 6'2". So he's a strapping fella, but his balance, he's quick. You can't give him a yard of space. He's gone. His strength is terrific, and he's very brave, and his ability to get himself airborne and get into that corner. He scored 2 like that against us yesterday. Very, very impressive. I'll be surprised if there aren't a number of Super League clubs queuing up for him. Whether Wakefield I think he's got at least a year left on his contract at Wakefield, because I looked. But whether Wakefield will be tempted to sell him or not, I don't know. But this guy looks like the real deal to me. He looks like a really, really good player, and any of the top Super League clubs would benefit from having his services. I think really, really good.
Yeah, the way funding works and the way the salary cap works, I don't suppose they've got necessarily any reason to sell him, because they won't make significant money from selling him. It's not like they'd be able to pay off anything towards the new stand or anything by selling him. And they'll get their funding and then they'll use the salary cap up as best they can. Yeah. I think there's no reason to. Tom Johnston stayed there for a number of years until I guess he maybe had got to the point in his career where he's into his mid to late 20s now and is thinking about winning something. So I don't think there's any... And for Wakefield, they want to keep someone as exciting as this, don't they? It's great for them that they don't have to mourn losing Tom Johnston so much, because they've got Lewis Murphy doing Tom Johnston things.
Exactly. So if it was my club, I would definitely not want to sell him. I really wouldn't. I think he's a huge amount of excitement. If I was a Wakefield fan, it'd be somebody I'd want to go and watch every week. I guess the only question is, what does he want? If he wants to, as always with players, you know what it's like nowadays. You can't really keep a player against the will. So if he wants to stay, I think Wakefield would be mad to sell him unless they're desperate.
Well, they've got that left edge sewn up. Like,
oh, it's good.
I know Corey Hall started in the second row, didn't he, and scored a try in the second row actually, but then moved into the centre, and I think he scored a try from the centres as well later on in the game. But those two, it's almost like they've, you'd have thought there's a huge hole there to fill with Bill Tupou and Tom Johnston, one of the best centre winger combinations of the last four seasons in Super League.
Tupou. Yeah, I always love Tupou playing.
And they've got a potential now with Hall and Murphy, two young players, to have that position sewn up for another 4, 5, 6 years. I think that's one of the few things Wakefield fans probably don't have to worry about in this off-season. They might want to worry about what prop forwards they're going to have next year. They might want to worry about what squad depth they're going to have next year. They might want to worry about who's going to be playing alongside Mason Leno next year. But I don't think they have to worry about that centre wing combination on the left edge.
No, they certainly don't. Let me make it clear. If Saints were to sign him, I'd be delighted to replace Regan Grace. I'd be absolutely delighted.
John Bennison, he's come up in the stats there. Obviously, he's not going to be playing in his preferred position of fullback for St Helens in the majority of occasions. But do you think he's done enough this year to be a starting winger for you next year?
I mean, John's done really, really well. I've never really watched him play very much until this season. So he's been a really nice surprise for us at Saints this year. He's got a lot of work to do defensively, I think, still, either as a winger or as a fullback. He's not the fastest player in the world. He's a lot quicker than Davies, but he's not the fastest player in the world. I think it would be foolish for Saints probably to rely on Bennison as being our replacement for Grace next year. I think, previous interviews with Wolf, and presumably he's very much in tune with what the club are thinking, is that Saints are probably going to go and try and sign a winger this year.
Fair enough. Liam Kay apparently got a broken hand in this game, but the word is if you check the Love Rugby League injury report that they do, the casualty ward that they do every weekend after the games, apparently it should be okay for the World Cup for Ireland, so that's a plus for them. Here's one for you. EFC 78JU. We haven't had many of his speculative news stories this year.
Yeah, there's one.
But he got in touch about Wolf leaving St Helens for the 2020 for an NRL team in 2023, and he said Christian Wolf is due to leave St Helens and sign a multi-year deal to join NRL side the Dolphins to be in Wayne Bennett's coaching staff and then take over from him as the head coach by 2025. Once Wayne has retired, but first the new club need to put up with his coaching for 3 years, and then Christian taking them on to potential silverware charge. We'll have to wait for an official announcement from St Helens. So this has been commonly reported as Bevan French to Newcastle Knights has been commonly reported in recent weeks. Yeah. It seems like a solid link. This link with the Dolphins. What are you hearing? What are you aware of, and how do you feel about this?
I think Wolf has been terrific for Saints. Building on what Holbrook did at Saints. I think Wolf has done a fantastic job. And if he goes on to take us to a fourth title on the run, then that's probably something that won't be repeated in my lifetime. So.
He's picked up the trophy that escaped him as well, hasn't he, this year, winning the League Leader Shield?
Yeah, he has. So, whatever happens now, he's done a superb job. I think he's conducted himself very well within the club. I wouldn't be surprised if he wanted to go back to the NRL. None of us ever are when our coaches sort of get picked off by the clubs in the NRL. I am a bit surprised by this whole Dolphins thing, but we don't know what the conversations have been between Christian and what role he's genuinely going to play, and how he gets on with Bennett and all that sort of things. I'm not. We've heard all sorts of things. Would I be surprised at this stage if Christian goes at the end of the season? No, I probably wouldn't be. And that'll leave us looking for a new coach next year, and there are obviously lots of rumours about that and exactly what will happen. Time will tell.
Well, I think similar to French, I'd more surprised if Wolf was at St Helens next year than wasn't at this stage. Yeah. Who are the head coach replacements? Then Paul Wellens has been waiting in the wings. Is it his chance to step up, or do you think it'll be another person from outside the club that they'll be looking at?
I mean, I think they've been carefully nurturing Wellens. They were very much bitten by the Cunningham mistake, and I think we can say it was a mistake. Dropping Kieran Cunningham into the role didn't work at all. I think they've worked a lot with Wellens. They've had Wellens working with England, so I think they've been nurturing Paul as a future Saints coach. Is now the right time? I don't know. I think I'll leave the club to make that judgment. Would I be surprised if Wellens ended up as our coach next year? No. I hope he does as good a job as Matty Peter's done, because I think Pete's done a remarkable job at Wigan. So hate to say it, but I actually quite like him. So, would I be surprised? No, I wouldn't, but who knows? It's all speculation, so.
Yeah, one thing's for sure. You might be able to save some electricity in the gym, not having to turn the lights on and the equipment on at like 5:30 in the morning for him to get in there and do whatever he does to build those muscles up that he's got. Because he's certainly the most stacked coach that Super League has ever seen.
Indeed.
Right, okay, 2 more games to talk about. One of them, the next one, involving, I suppose, arguably, alongside Wolf and Pete, who you've just been talking about, the other clear standout candidate for Coach of the Year, and that's Paul Rowley at Salford. They were 50 points to 10 winners over Castle. It was 20-10 at half-time, and they just decimated Castleford in the second half. 7,322 was the crowd. Liam Moore was the referee. Incomplete stats. Massey's missing for Cass and Dupree's missing for Salford, but based on the 16 each that we know, Salford will have dominated the stats overall. Individually, Brody Croft, these came in too late, so you don't have them, David, so I'll go for them. Brody Croft, 1 try assist, 191 metres, 2 clean breaks. Ken Seo, 1 try, 146 metres. Callum Watkins again showing up, 1 try, 2 try assist, 5 tackle busts, 138 metres, 2 clean breaks. And Andy Ackers, who I thought was outstanding, 2 try assists and 119 metres. For the losing cast side, the departing Daryl Alferts says goodbye to the jungle with 1 try and 144 metres, and Jake Mamo, 1 try, 5 tackles, 140 metres and 2 clean breaks. No fan views in on this one, I guess because Castleford lost, so we haven't heard from Rob, and Salford fans don't like to tell us how they feel about their team. But Salford's spine tore them apart, didn't they? They're playing far too good right now.
They're really, way too good. I'm very worried, as I said in the review of round 25. I'm worried about Salford, and not surprisingly, since they handed us our backsides not too long ago.
And did similar to Catalan as well. Absolutely. And then doing this to Cass. I mean, Cass are effectively the only other side left in the race, so that's potentially 3 of the 6 playoff sides that they've absolutely tore a new one to in recent weeks.
Walloped. Croft is some player.
As well as beating Huddersfield as well, didn't they, quite convincingly?
Yeah. What a player Croft is. And, Watkins playing in that sort of second row centre